My last video talked about Wilt Chamberlain and the amazing statistical accomplishments of his career. And so what I want you to do is look down at the bottom of this list and take a look at the number at the far bottom right hand corner. What I did with this list is I compiled the number of games these players played with a Hall of Famer with a minimum of 185 games. So pretty much I counted every Hall of Famer and the number of times they played with that player over 185. So I figure 185, that's a little more than 2 seasons. So essentially, how long did you play with a Hall of Famer that, gave you a good run, basically? And Wilt Chamberlain, the greatest statistical performer in NBA history, required 1,400 games from teammates that were Hall of Famers to win a championship. And so this is why I say that statistics are a means to an end. Statistics are a means to an end, okay? Because rest assured, NBA history is, resolute in the understanding that Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest individual statistical player in NBA history. So why isn't he the consensus GOAT? The only reason there's a GOAT discussion whatsoever is because Wilt Chamberlain was perceived to have not won enough given the amount of talent that he played with. The only reason there's a GOAT debate, there's no debate over who was dominant statistically. And so, with that said, you'll notice who's at the top of this list. Okay? Like I said, what I did was I went through, and for each player, I looked at their teammates, and I tabulated the number of games they played with those teammates. So in other words, when you look at Kobe Bryant, you add up basically Shaquille O'Neal and Pau Gasol. Kobe Bryant played with those 2 players a total of 1,024 games. I think, and Dwight Howard. I added Dwight Howard as well. So in other words, Kobe Bryant played with those 3 players 1,024 games. Okay? And the number at the end there, 205, is the championships divided by the number of games. Kobe has the best number on here. Okay? And you look at this list, it's quite revealing and quite reflective of something that I've said a number of times on this panel, on this platform. I'm sorry. It's about who is the greatest singular component, okay, to a championship, because it doesn't matter. I mean, you can win, the MVP, you can average a triple-double. Nobody can win the championship alone. How much do you need around you? Okay? And my criticism of LeBron is that he just needs so much around him. He just needs so much around him. And I want you to pay attention to something. Look at Tim Duncan's number. Okay? That might shock you. But he played with Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker for a long time. Okay? So Kobe was beating that trio, okay, to win his championships. 3 times as much talent. Okay? There's quite a few seasons with David Robinson in there. Okay? And I think Kawhi Leonard barely made the cut at about 200 games, but I'm not really sure. I don't have the exact tabulations in front of me. But, I mean, feel free to go through and check my math. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay? This is Oscar Robertson and Bobby Dandridge and the Lakers dynasty. And recently you add Michael Cooper, who was just recently inducted. How much do you need to get into the championship? How much do you need? Michael Jordan, from this vantage point, one could argue that his GOAT case was actually hurt a little bit by the second three-peat, because look at what it took to get him that second three-peat. In addition to Scottie Pippen, he had to play with 2 other Hall of Famers. And yes, Tony Kukoc was a Hall of Famer. Yes, he was. Dream Olajuwon. Okay? I have said there are players in NBA history wherein you could say, if this guy had more help, he'd be the GOAT. It's just not LeBron. Okay? It'd probably be Hakeem Olajuwon. Okay? Very little help. Okay? That's Ralph Sampson for a few years. And I think he only played with, maybe Clyde for like 2 years or something like that. Okay? Very little help. Did a lot with the very little help that he got. Okay? So this is what I mean. Who was the greatest component to a championship team in NBA history? And again, like I mean, the numbers are great. That's great. I asked somebody on Twitter earlier. I asked him. The guy posted his top 50, and he had LeBron at the top of it, and he had Russell Westbrook at 35. And I asked him, I said, only 2 players in NBA history have 25,000 points, 8,000 rebounds, and 8,000 assists. It would seem like Russ would be at least in your top 10. Of course, he didn't answer me. he didn't answer me. Like, it's people compile these lists and they're just inconsistent. Like the criteria changes to fit whatever outcome they want. And maybe I can be accused of that too, but I think I am consistent. Like if you look at who I've praised on this platform, it's great two-way players, because I think those are the players that are most impactful to a championship team. By the way, this these figures hold pretty still, even if you let's say you count finals appearances. Okay, Kobe's still at the top of it. Shaq, in probably the strongest case that I can think of to make Shaq, a top 4 center. Look how little he needed to get to the finals. He got to the finals twice without Kobe. So and won one of them. So yeah, but look how good Kobe's number is. 7 finals appearances. Okay. If you include finals appearances, LeBron's number looks a lot better, but still not the GOAT. Still not the GOAT, you know. So, and of course that number will only get worse because he's going to play again this year, and, you know, and he's not going to win the chip. So, you know, LeBron, I think at this point is probably hurting his GOAT case. But here you are, you know, the greatest singular component to a championship team. Okay, this literally establishes it. This literally says Kobe needed the least. Okay, he needed the least, and you know, that's kind of where we're at. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.